Hi everyone, welcome back to Scrapping Scotland. Today we're going to do a motor teardown. So this motor here is out of a industrial floor polisher. You may have seen a video before where I took the floor polisher apart and got a nice big motor like this out of it. I've actually got 3 of these to take apart. So this is going to be the first one. Now what I would say is a couple of things here. One, that everything's in such a mess on this bench that can't find my gloves, can't find my safety glasses. So you safety police out there watching this video are going to have a field day with this one. But it's not going to stop me making a video, so I'm going to make the video anyway. The motor itself, as you can see, has an aluminium casing on the outside, so I'm going to have to cut that off. And then we're going to cut the top section here off of the motor itself, and then we're going to try, and I say try, and pry the copper out the other side. I say try because it doesn't fit in my vise, it's too big. So I may have to strategically place it to try and bash through some of the copper before I can then pull that out. So we'll see how we go. Hopefully it'll be nice and easy, but it might not be. So there's only one way to find out, and that's nothing to it but to do it, guys. So let's crack on and let's do it. So the motor itself, it weighs 13.7 kilos as it currently is. So it'll be good to see what we get out of it in terms of copper, what the copper yield is versus the steel and the aluminium. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to cut off the outer casing. I'll make a cut one along this side, and then I'll cut the other side, and we'll get that casing off. So if you've got the volume high, turn it low while I cut this off. Don't want to hurt your ears, especially if you've got headphones on. Okay. Okay, so with that cut, as you can see, it's split apart, quite nice. Maybe we can just pull it off now. There we go, nice and easy. Yeah, one cut and off it comes. Let's weigh the aluminium. 810 grams for the aluminium. We'll put that to the side at the moment so we can then weigh everything up at the end as well. Okay, so now we cut off the top ring as close as possible to the actual main piece of steel here. Lovely, beautiful copper. Top ring off. And as you can see here, nice clean cut as well. Yeah. So what I want to do now is try and bash some of these down. So it loosens it this side and then pry it out. Okay. Now this isn't the only method, guys. My good scrapping friend Scrap It All uses a huge machete, cut through the middle of that, very effective. I don't have a huge machete, so this is my method, but there are other methods out there, so you know, comment below what's your preferred method of taking apart these specifically the larger motors. The smaller ones are a lot easier, but as I say, this is probably the largest one I've taken apart, and certainly the largest one I've video taken apart, so it is a little bit of a voyage of discovery for me. The good thing with taking the aluminium off is it might actually fit in my vise now. It's close. But not close enough. So we'll sit on top of the vise just so we've got some space underneath to try and bash through the copper. And I take an old broken screwdriver. As you can see, the end of it's broken, but it's good to use because it's quite a flat end on it now since it's broke, and that allows me to bash through the copper. Okay guys, I don't think that way is really going to work very well. I've not got a good purchase on it in terms of gripping it, and it's a little bit dangerous, so I think we're going to try another method. Okay guys, so it's safe to say that pulling it through just wasn't an option for me because I don't have something to grip the motor and to then pull the copper through, because you need to have a good grip of it, and you need a wedge in there, and to obviously to wedge it out. So that wasn't going to work for me. So I did mention scrap it all on his method about using a machete and banging the machete through. So I kind of tried to do that. Unfortunately, I don't have a machete, as I mentioned, so I did try it with a kitchen knife, and as you can see, it doesn't work very well with a kitchen knife, and this kitchen knife isn't very deep in terms of, you know, from top to blade, so it doesn't go all the way through the motor that I've got here because it's a thick motor. So what I did do is I put this through as much as I possibly can, worked it all the way round, and then from there I got a chisel. So here's my chisel, and I worked it in like that to basically create a little gap. Yeah. So as you can see, that did slightly pull some of the copper through. A little bit. Yeah. That created that little gap, and then that allowed me to get in with the grinder and cut through the copper. So we got there. It was a task. Took about 20 minutes to do it, to be honest. Wasn't the easiest way to do it, definitely not. I do like the machete method because it does seem to separate the motor quite well and surely makes it a lot easier to manage. So that's what I've done to get the motor in half. So getting in half is obviously only one part of the job. I now need to get the copper out, so let's try and do that. I am going to try the same method as we tried before in terms of just banging the copper through, because now it's got less area to come through, so it shouldn't be as tight, and hopefully I can start loosening the copper in the motor and start pulling it through the bottom. As you can see, that is now starting to poke through. Because I've got a little bit of surface area to work with in terms of the gap in between the vise with such a big motor, I'm going to have to start pulling bits out and then work my way around. We have our first piece of copper released from the motor. Okay guys, so I'm working my way around. It is coming out, so we're getting some success for this method. You may look at that and thinking, God, that's hard work, yeah, and it's probably not the best method. And you know what guys, you're probably right, it probably isn't the best method and it is hard work. But as I always say guys, scrapping ain't easy, and sometimes it's trial and error to get the best method, and you've got to work with what you have. I don't have a huge machete, I don't have a massive saw that I can just saw right through the thing. You know, I've got what I've got, and you know, I'll still get the copper out, I can assure you of that. So this is my way of doing it. It's not the best way, and I certainly will improve on this way going forward when I get big motors like this, because as I say, I've been working with kind of small base motors up until this time. This is the largest one I've had, so it was always going to be trial and error for me. So I'm going to just knock out the rest of the copper and then I'll bring it back, okay? So actually guys, just want to show you quickly how easy this has now become to push the copper through now that we've not got bits that we've tried to bash through before, and you know, when the motor was still one piece. So couple of taps, now it comes through easy. There we go, that's one half cleared. Now as I say, it was a task to get the motor in half, but actually once it's in half, it's nice and easy. Can now fit the other half into the vise. And actually I do think this will still be easier if I cut the ring off the top. Okay, second ring off. And that just now makes for a nice easy bit to bash it through. That's all them. Should be nice and loose now. Should be able to just pull them out. Just wanted to remove a few of those motor fins because they're quite sharp. Don't want to slip the hand and cut it, so I know I did say at the start about safety goggles and all the rest of it, but I'm still not stupid. And there's our second one clear. The good thing is it wasn't falling apart, so I could just bash it through and let it drop to the floor and it wasn't coming apart. Okay, so now I'm just going to remove the plastic. So here's all our copper. I'm just going to remove the plastic from that. Clean it up a little. copper saw. So that's it all cleaned up, guys. In terms of these pieces, obviously still need to clean up the rings. Won't be much weight in the other stuff that's surrounding this, so we'll just weigh it as it is. So it's coming back as 1977.1. So just say if you take away the lid, I would say just 25 grams under 2 kilos. So it's not too bad. So that's it, guys. As I say, decent copper yield there. We've got a bit of aluminium from it as well. 13.7 kilo motor. Couple of kilos copper almost. And a little bit of aluminium there as well. Can't remember what that number was. Just check it again. Yeah, just over 800 grams. So again, just under a kilo there, really. And the rest of it is steel. So I know it was quite tedious, guys, but I actually quite enjoyed doing that. Again, anything that's a voyage of discovery I quite enjoy doing. And when I pulled that motor out of the floor polisher, Scrap It All did mention that he would like to see that taken apart, so I showed you some of it taken apart, and I tried to cut out the bits that were just, yeah, just me messing around, to be honest with it. I think that's the kind way of putting it. Me just not doing very well trying to take it apart. But we got there, guys. We got out the copper, and that's the main thing. I now know kind of the best approach to do the other two, because as I say, I've got another two exactly the same of those motors, so that will set us up better going forward. If you like the video, guys, please hit that subscribe button. Do hit that like button as well. And please leave a comment below on your method of doing these. Do you use the Scrap It All method and use the machete, or do you cut off the rings and try and wedge it out? Do you have another method? Burning it isn't an option for me. My scrapyard doesn't take burnt copper, and it's not great for the environment anyway, so not something I'd be willing to do. And as I mentioned, my mate Scrap It All there, guys, go over and check out his channel as well. Great channel, great guy, and well worth a watch and subscribe on his channel as well. Okay, for now, thank you very much, guys, for watching Scrapping Scotland. I do appreciate it. I do realise as well that I actually look at the camera rather, well, look at myself on the camera rather than looking into the eye of the camera like I'm meant to be doing. So apologies for that. But again, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Feel free to share it out. That would be fantastic if you can. And I really appreciate all the guys that have subscribed to the channel so far. We're creeping up there, guys. We're getting up to that mark where I want to be at least, which is that 1,000 subscribers. We're up to, I think it's 621 as I was making this video. So a little push, any help that you guys can do in terms of sharing it out. Again, hitting that like button, and if you haven't subscribed, subscribing to the channel. I really do appreciate that, guys. It does help out the channel a lot. Okay, and I want to keep doing this. I want to keep making videos for you guys, but I do need the support to enable me to do that. Okay, thanks for now, guys. Appreciate you watching Scrapping Scotland. We'll see you on the next teardown. Bye now.